And that's the end of the first half. As the teams head to the locker room, the Spartans lead the Bulldogs by a score.
You guys stink.
Geez, Coach, we're only down a couple of points.
No, I mean you guys really smell. You need to hit the showers. And here, I got every one of you new bars of soap from the Sterling Soap Company. Each bar is artisan crafted using natural ingredients and essential oils. They also have shave soaps, colognes, beard balm, and a whole lot more. Now get in there.
But Coach, we have another half to play.
I don't care. I can't stand to be around you.
A few minutes later.
All right, bring it in tight. You guys are still playing terrible, but you're smelling great out there. Now listen, you're going to need to stock up for the rest of the season. We got a lot of tough games left. So go to sterlingsoap.com after the game. That's STIRLING soap.com. You got that?
Yes, Coach.
Great. Sterlingsoap.com on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Sterlingsoap.com.
This is our league, and this is your league. Broadcasting from the 55-yard line in Japan to the shores of the Great White North and everywhere around the world on Gridiron America Radio and the Sports History Network.
Hey, everybody. It is Greg St. James here in Japan with Dave Selinsky and Mike Tackett over there in America. Excuse me. And we are here talking week 3 of the CFL. It's the only league we're covering game-wise this week, but there's been a lot of breaking news just in the last, since I got up, because it's morning time here in Japan. But in the NFL and even in the CFL, we've had some breaking news. Literally right before we hit the record button. So, guys, how are things in America? It's been a good week since we talked, and, a lot of football was played this week, which unfortunately for me, I had to watch on demand because the CFL decided to cram 3 games in one day.
Glad to see you guys. Definitely staying warm here in Florida, but Dave, how's it in your neck of the woods?
Nice mid upper 70s, 50s at night. Perfect. I'll take this year round.
Yeah, we got rain and a typhoon coming this way, so we need the rain. And it's in the 70s, so the heat's coming though. The heat is coming. So all right. So let's just get right into it too. For this week. So for this past week, we had 4 games. 4 CFL games, and it was the first 4-game CFL weekend we've had this season. And just some of the takeaways that I kind of my takeaways from this week. So we got BC's looking definitely wounded and under pressure. Edmonton, you know what? They're 2-0, and they look real behind Justin Rankin and Cody Fajardo. And then Hamilton and Saskatchewan are showing right now. Hamilton and Saskatchewan, to me, are my bets for the Grey Cup. But, who knows? Edmonton's looking pretty good, at least right out of the gate. And you can never count Montreal out. And then lastly, bringing up the rear are Ottawa and Calgary. That a lot of questions, I think, for a lot of fans that they have right now with both teams, particularly Ottawa. Thoughts, guys?
I think it's early in the year, but Ottawa's, I think they're in crisis mode trying to find their identity. I think just a moment ago when I was joining, I heard you guys talking about who the backup quarterback is for Ottawa. I think that they have a lot of holes to fill, needs that need to be met. And again, this season's young, but it's tough going into now week 3, and there's so many questions for Ottawa. I think for Calgary, I think they're finding their way. It's a long stretch, it's a long season, as you guys know, but I think Calgary's positioned better than Ottawa, but for both teams, respectfully, it's going to be an uphill climb already.
Well, we had so for the scores that we had this weekend, we had Hamilton 41, BC 27, Toronto was 44 over Ottawa 24, Edmonton 32, Montreal 29 in overtime, and Saskatchewan 40-37 in 2 overtimes. I don't know. Let's start with the BC Hamilton game. Dave, your thoughts on this game?
3 words: Bo Levi Mitchell. It was incredibly impressive. I mean, right from the beginning of the game, they had no problems moving the ball up and down the field on BC. Nathan Rourke was responding, but they were getting field goals when Hamilton was getting touchdowns, and that's what really they really put that game out of reach, where BC would move the ball, get a field goal, and then Hamilton would just come right down the field, score a touchdown, and then it just kept that pattern kept going until the fourth quarter, when it was so far out of reach that probably the most impressive player to me in the game was actually the backup quarterback, Chase Bryce for BC. He came in 6 of 7, 87 yards, let him down on a touchdown drive.
Yeah.
Nice touchdown pass. Granted, the game was out of hand. There's a bunch of different players, but still, great arm. Just came in cold and was slinging the ball, and it was very impressive after the struggles you saw in the offense for most of that game. So, but going back to it, Hamilton's for real. They were clicking.
Yeah.
And it was impressive. They didn't really need the running game. Like, if you look at the stats, and in a day they had 350 yards total, but that did not tell you the story.
No.
Hamilton they were just clicking, touchdown, and one missed extra point, or they'd been 42. It was impressive for this early in the season.
Yeah. To me, the most impressive stat is Bo Levi Mitchell's passing attempts, yards. He's only 15 for 18, but of those 15, 5 were touchdown passes, which is just an insane stat to begin with. And it just shows you, I mean, he has not lost a step. I mean, the broadcast, I mean, that's whatever. You could see it on the screen, but everybody was commenting. It's like he's getting better. I think he's getting better with age. So, I mean, I don't know. Right now, just based upon what I'm seeing, at least right now, Hamilton to me is kind of in the driver's seat. So, and like you said, BC. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, before you go to the next game, Hamilton scored 41 points and had 38 plays. Not counting punts and kickoffs, they had 18 passes and 20 rushes. 30 offensive snaps and scored 41 points. Like that just sums up the game in itself, because it was just so efficient and just ridiculous.
Yeah, and looking at if you just look at this game from a statistic without looking at the final score, you'd be like, oh, BC won this game. And it's like, yeah, no. BC won every statistical category except the most important one. 457 yards passing by BC. We already talked about with Hamilton, and then you had 457 yards total yards, and then you had, I mean, again, it's just an insane stat looking at it. It's like, no, I mean, Hamilton did what they needed to do to win, and then they got off the field and let the defense take care of the rest. So Nathan Rourke, he was 25 of 35 for 291 yards. We already talked about that, but then we had Roundtree is, I think, and I did not look at. Dave, do you have the leaders in terms of who we have right now with the leaders with the CFL in front of you? I've got those towards the end of on my screen here, but instead of me clicking all the way to the back, but
no problem.
Yeah. So running,
looking that up, I'll just say 3 words, guys.
Yeah.
Throw it back here, but it's still true. Bo knows football.
True. Yeah.
Yep.
He's definitely on point so early. And then I don't know if you guys seen the catch. I think it was Lawler. His first name slipping my mind.
Kenny.
There was Kenny Lawler.
The
Yes,
King.
thank you.
Yeah, the
He
King.
had that huge stretching reception. I think that kind of just that broke the defense mentally from that point. I think it showed that Hamilton, they're mentally tough as well as they are physically. So
Yeah. To me, just I don't know. Hamilton, even though Hamilton lost that first game, they still look good in that first game. Um, just coming right out of the gate to me, Hamilton looks like probably, we're going to talk about Edmonton next here, but looks like the best team right now in the CFL. That's just my opinion. Dave, what do you think? Your thoughts, just looking at where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at, I would say if you look at the total package, I'm most impressed with Hamilton as well. Even with that loss, everyone's got to clean up their defense. It seems like this is an odd year where the offenses are ahead of the defense in the CFL.
Right.
But if it comes down to it, and Bo Levi's got the ball and he needs to get points, I don't know. It seems like a pretty good pick to do that right now.
Yeah. And for BC, I mean, everybody on social media is like talking about the coverage breakdowns and giving the defensive coordinator a lot of heat, and rightly so. I mean, I thought BC would be looking a lot better at this point, but again, it's still early in the season. People are already questioning, are the Lions already in crisis mode? I think it's too early to hit the panic button, but it's nice for clickbait, to get people riled up, but the season's still young.
Aaron Rodgers, RELAX. The season is young. I think BC will fix what they need fixed, and I think Hamilton has got enough veterans, guys, where they know when to put it in the next gear. First game was a little sloppy, but I think they know when it's crunch time, and I think that they'll carry the momentum when it's most important. It's a long season,
exactly.
guys.
Yeah. So go ahead, Dave.
You go 9-9 in the West, you got a good chance of being in the playoffs.
Oh yeah. I mean, a losing record does not count you out of the playoffs either. So it's a CFL when you only got 9 teams, and really, I mean, think about where we're going to be here shortly with the CFL. Everybody's going to make the playoffs. And it could be even all 9 teams will make the playoffs, because you never know what that importance of the final game of the season is going to be between the one team that's not going to make it versus the 8 teams that are going to make it. It could very well come down to a 9-team playoff come the end of the season. So, which is a whole nother discussion for another day. Okay, so moving on to Toronto and Ottawa. We had Toronto 44, Ottawa 24. I mean, the score is a lot closer than what the game really was. I mean, I think I damn near fell asleep during this game because it was just like, okay, I know Ottawa's going to lose. Just get this over and done with.
Wow. Chad Kelly helped keep them around with his 4 picks. So
yeah, he did. Well, that's kind of the key. That's the biggest statistic in here.
424 yards, 4 touchdowns. You take those 4 interceptions out, he only had 3 incompletions on the day.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, once again, Toronto was slinging, and Ottawa just does not look good.
No.
They just don't look good.
Ottawa had 516 total yards, passing total 424. It just felt like Ottawa showed up for a scrimmage versus a game. That's just how it felt to me coming out of the gate. The only thing that looked good on that field were the new uniforms. That was it for Ottawa.
Yes.
Yeah. And Mike, thoughts?
Listen, until they lose, it's the Chad Kelly show.
Yeah. And I'm not a huge fan of Chad Kelly. I really am not. just the way he just comes across on camera. I mean, he not like his uncle. I mean, we all love we all love some Jim Kelly and some run and shoot and USFL and the old Buffalo Bills. But yeah, Chad Kelly just does not come more. Just as I don't think he's going to ever be the face of the CFL. What do you get?
I think he's good with that.
Yeah, probably, but yeah, the 6 picks. I mean, they got to fix that. I mean, that's a huge.
Yeah,
if he's throwing 6 picks in a game against Ottawa, that's a problem moving forward.
I think it's a continuation of a problem Toronto had last year, which was running the ball. I mean, they did get 111 yards, but they also ran 27 times because when you're up that much, you force the running game. But I think there's a lot of internal pressure that he needs to work through to look at the game plan. And plus, I don't know what the offensive coordinator is calling, which is the coach now. Mike, I don't know what he's calling. Like the head coach now was the quarterback's coach last year and the year before. So there's a really good rapport between Kelly and Miller. But what you can do, you can run the play that's called. So it's gonna be one of those things where if he sees that Ottawa is off the line, they're doing whatever the case may be. I think some of that has to do with play calling as well, because you're not throwing a pick if you're running the ball more.
Right.
That's, and I'm not throwing into coverage. Like it's just that's definitely an issue. The 4 picks, but when you still win by 20, you played pretty well.
Yeah.
Winning solves a lot of problems.
Yeah,
sure does.
And then on the
and plus two, and Greg and Mike, if you think about this, they're playing their first 7 games on the road.
Yeah.
If they can figure out a way to go 3-4, they're going to be ecstatic. No one is counting on Toronto winning many of these games because of being on the road every single week. So if they can come through and get a halfway decent result before their first home game, I mean, how are they not feeling happy and feeling good and excited about the rest of the season?
Right. With the World Cup. Yeah. I mean, when are they going? When is their first home game? I don't know off the top of my head when their first home game is, but obviously after the World Cup is over, or at least the games in Toronto have cleared up, because we know we have BC playing. They've got 2 games scheduled within BC, within British Columbia, but not at the Dome because of the World Cup.
August 6th is the home opener.
Holy moly, that is! I didn't think it was that far out. Jeez. Well, wait a minute though. Now I think about it, but even still, it's like a little bit over a month away. But that's a long time to be on the road. I mean, that's. And do they have any? Dave, do you know, or Mike, do you know if they have any games? Because I did not pay attention. I did not commit any of the schedules to memory. But is Toronto doing stuff like playing out in like Halifax, or like a quote unquote home game, but not really a home game?
I think they're playing a couple in Hamilton.
Okay.
And I think they're playing one out west.
Okay.
That's considered a home game.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I should know that, but I don't. When it comes to, there's just so much going on. I mean, that's the problem now. There's just so much information out there that it's easy for me to forget it right off but yeah, not having a home game until August. Yeah, that's a problem. But yeah, like you said, if they come back, if they can go 500 on the road for the first 2 months of the CFL season, yeah, they're doing pretty good. Yeah.
Agreed.
So, yeah. And then in terms of besides quarterbacking, we had, for both teams, we had, Aiden Eberhard over at Ottawa. He had 8 receptions, 129 yards, and a TD. I mean, so there's some highlights even for Ottawa, not in the running game, because Greg Bell only carried the ball 11 times and got 29 yards. But for Toronto, you had Kevin Meadall, 8 receptions for 178 yards. And then on defense, you had 2 guys that had 10 tackles apiece. We had, for Argos, you had Isaac Darkangelo had 10 tackles, and then for Ottawa, Niles Morgan had 10 tackles. So some of the key takeaways that at least I saw from the game, you had, obviously Kelly's interceptions. And Ottawa needs to do more than just kick field goals, because field goals just ain't going to cut it at this point. I don't know. But again, for me, the game of the 4 games, obviously this is the one. I think we could consider this one kind of a blowout. What would you guys concur?
Agreed.
Okay. Yeah. It's hard. I mean, I don't know. We'll see with Ottawa. I mean, they could turn it around. We're only three games in. And let's see what else we have here. Ottawa's still kind of soft. I mean, I guess that's in a kind of the one word I would use with Ottawa right now. I know on our X feed, at Howard Cosell, MNF had very choice words to say about the Ottawa Redblacks. And so if you do follow us on X at Gridiron AM Radio, check out what Howard Cosell had to say about the Ottawa Redblacks.
And my final words on the Ottawa Redblacks is, welcome back, MBT, to back up Jake Mayer. McLeod Bethel Thompson back in the CFL.
Nice. And that was the breaking news before we came on air.
Yep, Ottawa traded Drew Brown to Winnipeg and signed McLeod Bethel Thompson. So Dinwiddie's bringing back his starting quarterback, the last one of the Grey Cups they won. And then
you got to bring back the horses that got you there. I mean, there's something to be said about veteran experience, and he's always proven he can play, and so
he's a competitor too.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I'm not counting Ottawa out at all. I mean, it's way too early in the season, but at least they know they got to fix it. Yeah. So, all right, then moving on to Edmonton and Montreal. So this was for at least the first half Montreal's game, but then it all changed in the second half. So Montreal led 13-0, and then Edmonton came roaring back and scored 23 unanswered points. Mike?
I think Edmonton found their groove and they just went with it. Some teams, they're going to start off the game flat. That's always, from a player perspective, your goal is to start the first and second half strong, and Edmonton did not, but they figured it out.
Yeah. And sadly, and watching, it was hard to watch the game because a couple things here. It was a downpour, and I was listening to Two and Out yesterday. Travis Carra was talking about, and he just told me, because he was at the game, and just how much rain fell. I mean, from what I recall him talking about, he goes, it's the rainiest game he's ever been to, which obviously I would think impacted the number of people in the stands, because it was we saw more people in the stands during the pandemic in the NFL than you did at this game, at least on camera. I mean, they only show one side of the field, and of course, Commonwealth Stadium's a pretty big stadium, but so it was a great game to watch, but it's sad that a couple things got in the way. Obviously, the elements, and then there weren't a whole lot of people in the stands, except a lot of the fellow podcasters that we all know and love, like the guys over at the Turf District podcast. Dave, your thoughts on this game?
Justin Rankin, they found their groove in the running game, and that was the difference maker for them. I mean, Cody Fajardo had a good game. He managed it well, but running the ball in that weather, this is the second straight week or second straight game, I should say, that Edmonton's played in pretty much a downpour, because the Ottawa home opener was pretty much the same thing, to be honest. Tons of rain and keeping the ball on the ground, and it worked in the end. And you can see Montreal was tired, and that towards the end of the game, they definitely wore out that Montreal defense. And still, to his credit, Davis Alexander had some magic in the fourth quarter to get him to overtime, and it was a shame. Well, let me put it this way: he got me enough points to win my fantasy football week, but it was a shame to see the undefeated streak go. But from what he's been saying in past interviews, when they lost the Grey Cup, in his mind, that undefeated string was over. So he wasn't really really counting these games anymore that he was undefeated at as a starting quarterback. But it'll be interesting. Montreal is a good team, and I'm curious to see what Edmonton can do in nice weather. Because it's hey, they're 2-0. They've grinded 2 games out. They've done exactly what they needed to do. And it's great to see Edmonton 2-0 instead of 0-2, which has been the past 6, 7, 8 years. That's been their traditional starting point. So it's good to see them get some wins early to kick the season off.
Yeah. And I know with Edmonton, just looking at the stats for this game, I mean, Edmonton does one thing well, and that's running the ball, having 200 yards of rushing offense. I mean, they had 356 yards of I'm sorry, no, that's Montreal. Had 232 passing yards, but they had a balanced offense. I mean, they balanced it out well, and whereas Montreal only had 114 yards rushing and then 356 yards passing. But most importantly, they showed, like you said, man, they're starting off 2-0 when it's been the last time they started off 2-0 was well before the pandemic.
Yeah, and I'll just add, kind of piggyback to what you guys were saying. Last time we were on talking about this, I brought it up. It doesn't matter if it's in the elements or in the playoffs. You have to run the rock, and that's the difference between an Edmonton team and an Ottawa team. Edmonton, as you guys mentioned, they're solid running the football. So especially in the elements where you're going to struggle throwing the ball, you got to be able to fundamentally play tough, hard-nosed, aggressive football. And they pinned their ears back and they went after that defense.
Yeah. And, talking about, besides quarterback and besides a running back, like Dave, when you started talking about this game, Justin Rankin had is it Rankin or Rankin?
Good question. I'm calling
I think it's Rankin.
Rankin, okay.
Rankin.
18. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Justin had. I'm sorry. 18 carries and 79 yards rushing with 2 TDs. But going back to on the receiving side, because of the weather, it was hard to catch the ball, except for really one person, and that was Tyson Philpott, who had 8 catches for 120 yards. And then pushing the game into overtime. I was not expecting an overtime game at all, especially in the elements with such a high score, too. You think about, it was a very high-scoring game for such a crappy weather game.
Once again, it was great to see how the overtime works, where Montreal got the field goal, but the game doesn't end. So Edmonton got the ball back and went down, scored a touchdown. So it's a fun, as we'll see in the next game, it's a fun overtime in the CFL. It's really it's it's the way it should be in my opinion. I never was a big fan of the first one to score wins the game, unless it's my team, of course. But
right, yeah.
But it's been it's worked well in the CFL, and that's another reason it's another close, great game.
Yeah. And there's one thing about this game, talking about overtime, is that overtime fumble that Edmonton had and then did not get overruled. It was I mean, this game kind of hinged on the refs at the very, very end. And I know they were talking about that on 2 and Out, and I agree. I mean, there was no replay reversal, but so this is a game really anybody could have won. We could be easily talking about Edmonton losing this game versus Montreal winning. So I don't really think there were any clear. I mean, obviously Edmonton won the game, but just walking away from it, I mean, Montreal had the no. I mean, it was an evenly played game up and down till the end, and really, I mean, but for an official's call, it would have gone Montreal's way. All right, Mike.
Bill Walsh said it best, and I think Nick Saban reiterated it. I live by it. Never leave a game in the ref's decision.
Yeah, I agree. So it begs the question. I've already, in my opinion, I know for the graphic for this show, we know the Lions are struggling, but are the Elks on the rise, do you think, or is it too early to tell?
Dave?
I think they're on the rise.
Okay.
But it's one of those things where they have what they've done so far is exactly what you need to do in late October and early November to keep playing. So if they can keep running the ball at this clip, they're going to surprise a lot of people. But like with the CFL, it's so weird. They can have 200 yards this week, and then next week they have 30 yards rushing. It's consistency and over a long stretch of time. And honestly, I think they have a really good shot of making the playoffs. But once again, when there's 9 teams, like where does that shuffle fall out? Like who has to lose then? Is like Calgary's 0-2, but I don't think they're an 0-2 team. I think they've had some tough luck, but if that's the case, then who's out in the West? And that's where that's the crazy part is there's so many games still left to play, and 2-0 today could be 6-8 tomorrow by the time we get down the road, depending on injuries. I mean, they're definitely playing better, 100%.
Right, and as you said about injuries, BC's starting out right at the gate. They're just, I mean, their receiving core is. I mean, they're depleted on their receiving core now. We're only just starting the season. That's something we really didn't talk about when we were talking about the game, about the injuries that have been affecting BC.
Yeah.
So the final game we had, the Rough Riders were 40-37 winners in two overtimes against Calgary. And I don't know, to me, Saskatchewan, they started out of the gate great first half and everything, but they didn't finish it off. I mean, it just seemed to me like they just they took their foot off the gas, and next thing you know, we're in overtime when they should have put this game away, I think, but in the third quarter or really in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think special teams I think special teams kept Calgary in it for a while, but again, I think this is one of those games that they play 10 times, it might be a 6-4 decision, or maybe even a 5-5. It was closer than it should have been, but I don't want to discredit Calgary either. Again, I think that Calgary's on the right track, but they've got to figure out how to play all 3 phases consistently, and that's kind of goes back to the identity comment earlier. So the Rough Riders, props to them, but I don't know. I think that again, I'm not discrediting the Rough Riders, but Calgary didn't play to win. They played to not lose, and you can't have that mindset in the CFL.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they only had 52 yards total offense in the first half, but yet somehow they got 14 points. It's just one of those weird stats. You're like 50. Wait a minute, but they got 14 points. So, and looking at the stats game, So Saskatchewan had 466 yards total offense. Calgary had 383. Rushing, Calgary was winning the rushing game. On the passing side, it was Saskatchewan that was winning that. So you had Trevor Harris was 23 of 36 for 3 TDs, 349 yards. On the other side, Vernon Adams Jr. had was 20 for 30, 254 yards and a TD, and look at some of the other stats here. And then on the running side, I already talked about that. So I don't know. It was a great game, but I just think that I was still scratching my head and how did we get to two overtimes? Because it really, just to me, Saskatchewan came out of the gate. I knew they were going to win, but I didn't think it was going to be, come down to overtime. I thought they were gonna finish them off in regulation.
Do you guys think Saskatchewan just got comfortable and just laid off the brakes or laid off the gas a little bit?
To me, that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Dave, what are your thoughts?
They definitely seemed in the fourth quarter, they were a lot more deliberate in their play calling to try and keep the clock going, to try and not milk the clock, but keep the ball in play, keep making sure Calgary had to force the issue to come back. And the one stat that I looked at was basically for me was the red zone. Saskatchewan was 4 for 4 for touchdowns, and Calgary was 3 for 6. And that, if you put 1 or 2 more touchdowns in, you don't need overtime. Granted, 2 of those were in overtime, but it's just one of those things where if you get that touchdown, you won. So
yeah.
So at the end of the day, I think we've said this before on the show. Good teams find ways to win, and Saskatchewan did. But Calgary is based on based on the West. To me, Calgary is better than they were last year, but I'm not
definitely.
sure where. Is that better than last year? 4th or 5th place still. For me, it looks like Edmonton and Calgary are playing for that last spot in the West, but this time around it'd be 8-10 and 9-9 or something like that instead of 4-14 or something like that.
Right.
So, I can see the West, the way these teams are playing. The West, the winner in the West has 10 or 11 wins, and it's going to be a dogfight. And we're looking at tiebreakers to see who goes where and how. But once again, with double overtime, it's a great competitive game. And I don't know. It seems like every week all these games are coming down to the fourth quarter or overtime, and it's been tremendous.
Yeah, and except really for except for the Toronto Ottawa game, take that one aside because you got usually when you have 4 games in a weekend, usually there's one in there that is not the greatest, but again, another overall great weekend of CFL football, I thought.
Mm-hmm. And even the Hamilton BC game, people, I haven't seen the ratings yet, but I'm assuming people stuck around because what Bo Levi Mitchell was doing, even the commentators in the game were talking about how special this game is. He is just, there is just something clicking with that Hamilton team, and it was pretty to watch because they honestly, they could do no wrong for 3 quarters, and then you start going, why is he still in the game in the fourth? That's why is he still in the game? The last play of the game, he's like, why are you still in the game?
Yeah. So, well, I don't know. It's it's going to be, hopefully the magic with Bo Levi continues. Because I know, they keep showing that chart where he's at among the all-time greats, and he keeps rising. So it's going to be interesting to see where he's at by the end of the season. So with all that said, we've talked CFL football. Let's go in and talk a little bit about what else is going on in the world of football. Let's start off with gambling, maybe, and Brendan Sorsby. How about that? Let's start there. And Mike, I'm going to let you lead the charge because you kind of broke the news to me as I was waking up this morning here in Japan. What's going on?
Yeah, so the NFL sent a letter to all 32 teams saying there will not be a supplemental draft this year. So they were very blunt with their reasoning. I mean, it was just a week ago, rather. Sorsby was fighting the NCAA and getting ready to go to a federal hearing to stay eligible in college, and then everything happened. He waited until the deadline to file his application for the supplemental draft, and the NFL just flat out felt like that was a slap in the face. So they made the decision that, given for the reasons I already mentioned with the gambling, he's not going. There will not be a supplemental draft this year. He will have to wait until next year's draft. But it is interesting. Mike Rapoli tweeted out to Sorsby, "Hey, come and play in our league. This league's meant for guys like you to build second chances, to play locally, and whether he plays in the UFL or not, we'll see." I think it would be, from a ratings perspective, I think it would be fun to watch. How much better he would make Dallas. Listen, you got to have 11 guys on each side of the ball. So, I think Dallas has a lot of holes, even with assuming Sorsby were to go. But I think a lot of teams, even UFL or up north, wherever, I think they're all going to have that same concern. Are you going to be gambling, on our success? So for a lot of teams, a lot of GMs, and I spoke to some guys in the NFL. I have a few friends that are coaches, and they all share that same sentiment. The red flags are not worth the squeeze. So it is what it is. I think Sorsby should have just left it alone. He already beat the NCAA, but maybe his lawyers knew something. Maybe they told Sorsby, "Hey, you're not going to win in federal court." So maybe that's why he waited last minute to declare for the supplemental draft. I'm not sure, but man, it really does bring back memories of Art Schlichter and Paul Crew from the longest yard. So I don't think that the juice is worth the squeeze, but who knows? Maybe we'll see him in the UFL.
Dave?
I honestly, I really don't have much to say on it because it's such a ever-changing story.
Yeah.
I was surprised that they found a judge in Texas to overturn it, to allow him to play, and then it just sounded like that it was just a matter of time that the NCAA was going to appeal it and it was going to be turned over. So I obviously he's looking to figure out what he wants to do next, and I'm not sure what kind of representation he has, but hopefully at the end of the day he gets everything figured out with himself first, and he can get him back to where he needs to be as a person, and then we'll see where football goes, because there's talent there. Or Texas Tech, the boosters weren't going to pay him $4 million a year to come play there, so obviously there's talent, but I just don't know. As Mike said, I just don't see anybody taking a chance on him right now. Like, I just don't. There's so many other quarterbacks who can do what he does at this point in the NFL, and It's just, do you want that? Do you want to find out later that the Minnesota Vikings bring him in, and then you find out he's been just spending hours on DraftKings? It's just one of those things where you don't, no one needs that, especially where the whole gambling and professional sports are right now, and the DOJ is just looking for ways to go after these leagues right now. So I think everybody just wants to just, like, you know what, let's just let this ride out in the sunset for a little bit, and then we'll figure it out next year.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's going to be interesting. So my thoughts are a couple things. Going back, and Mike, you brought up Art Schlichter and Paul Crew. And for those who don't know who Paul Crew is, I would suggest you watch The Longest Yard, the movie, not the second one, but the original Burt Reynolds one, which, it's because that's where Art Schlichter, going back to Art Schlichter, you're talking about a guy that had, again, a lot of talent. Went to Ohio State, picked by the Colts. I think they were the Indianapolis. Were they Baltimore? I can't off the top of my head remember. But either way, he was drafted by the Colts, and he's gone. He's in prison now. I mean, I have to pull him up on the internet to see where he's. But he's been in and out of prison many times for gambling. And yeah, so Sorsby has gone to rehab and everything, but the retired probation officer in me, who has seen people go to rehab constantly, I don't believe rehab works, but that's my opinion. It boils down to the individual. You just can't go to, rehab and going, well, I went to rehab. No, you need to take personal responsibility. And if you do that, yeah, then you can kick the habit. But this kid clearly has no desire to kick the habit. It's an addiction. Now, is it an addiction, anybody? How powerful of an addiction is it? I don't know. I've never gambled. So, but I agree with both of you guys. I think nobody's going to touch this fire at all. I don't see the CFL, number one, they're going to stay. They've had enough problems with American quarterbacks coming up for rehab projects over the years. And I don't see that happening. I mean, I think Johnny Manziel was the last time they got really burned. So I don't see him going to Canada. Obviously, the NFL hasn't said yet, we don't want you in our league, but they've kind of said it about the supplemental. Like, kind of, dude, get the hint. But I don't see any team taking him. I mean, I know listening to talk radio, there's been mention about the Cardinals. The Cardinals, and they're my favorite team, but they're a problem they've got enough problems in their organization, starting with the owner at this point. The last thing they need is a quarterback with gambling issues. When you've got really two great quarterbacks, very serviceable quarterbacks in Gardner Minshew and Jacob E. Brissett playing on the team. No, you don't want him. And as far as the UFL, I don't know, man. Okay, so Rapoli said that, but did he say that just for the attention it's going to draw? I think that's what he did. I don't think he's serious at all. I would think at this point The Rock would step in and going, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? We do not want him.
Yeah, it's a double-edged blade because, you look at one side of the coin, it could be a Josh Gordon situation where, he stayed clean, he stayed under the radar when it was the XFL with the Seattle Sea Dragons, or it could be, the opposite side where you bring him in and it's nothing but bad things. And I don't really know if the investors specifically, even the advertisers, want to run that chance of risk versus reward.
Right.
Again, I think to piggyback on what you mentioned, there's a lot of talented quarterbacks out there who are keeping their nose clean, who are doing all the right things, who really just are fighting for that opportunity. So if it were my call, it would be a no for me. But again, we're 2 weeks out of the championship, so a lot of off season. The draft will be, if they continue off of historical dates, the UFL draft will be sometime at the beginning of the year. So we'll see. As far as the NFL, I am of the opinion he's going to get the proverbial Pete Rose ban. Maybe not directly where Goodell explicitly states you're banned, but I think that the writing's on the wall that, as you guys alluded to, I don't really know of any teams that want to take that chance on him. Minnesota's, they're in a 1-year project with Kyler Murray, and I don't think McCarthy's the guy. The other team I heard mentioned was the New York Jets. They have Ty Simpson there, and I don't think he's better than Ty Simpson. I don't think he's the second best quarterback for the Jets. So, and as far as Arizona, I think you got Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew. Gardner is a character in a good way. Gardner's enough character for that quarterback room. So
yeah,
I just don't see where he fits in personally. But what say you, Dave?
If Al Davis was still alive, the Raiders have already signed him.
just win, baby.
But other than that, no, I just don't see it happening anytime soon. But once again, the NFL was able to kick this can down the road. So there's nothing. The earliest anything can happen with him is next April. So that they did the easiest thing they could, is just kick the can down the road.
They punted,
and we'll figure it out later. Yep.
Okay. All right. So hey, on that note here, before we wrap up, so let's talk books real quickly. Dave, Mike, any good books that you have read in the last week that you want to talk about football wise?
My books got dust on them, guys. So
okay. All right. Dave.
You put me on the spot. I'm not ready.
Okay. Well, I'm ready. That's why I brought it up.
Go ahead.
All right. So a couple things. I'm reading. Just read the book from one of our Sports History Network fellow podcasters, and that is College All-Stars versus NFL Champions by Warren Rogan. Great book. It's on Amazon. I'll put the link in, and also put a link into his show, Sports Forgotten Heroes. And for those who don't know what the hell College All-Stars versus NFL Champions is about, that's okay, because they stopped playing this game when I was 9 years old, and I don't know, Dave was like 5 years old or something like that. So this was an actual game that was held for 30 so for 40 plus years. The College All-Star NFL game was played, pitting College All-Stars versus the NFL champion. And to think about what it would be like for a group of College All-Stars to go up against an NFL team today, it kind of boggles the mind. But this was a serious attempt by the NFL. And again, the book lays it all out. But the NFL saw it as an opportunity of expanding the brand, of getting people, because back in the 30s, people really didn't take professional football seriously, thought of it, they kind of looked down on it. And so that's what this book explains, the entire history, going from the start all the way to 1976, when the game was canceled in the fourth quarter, during a torrential downpour at Soldier Field. The game was always played at Soldier Field. And the NFL after that game said, okay, we're done with it. But it's a great book, because it's the only book. There's one other book, and I think it's out of print, about this game, and Warren just does a great job of research. Interviews a lot of people that are friends of our show: Joe Zimba, Upton Bell, Chris Willis. All of them have appeared on this show. They're referenced repeatedly throughout the book. And of course, Upton Bell, his dad was commissioner during this whole when the game started, and he himself has seen many of these games. So getting Upton's view and getting his input on the research and everything, I thought was great. But it's a great book. I'm also working on Tom Danny Luck's book, The Lost Super Bowls, right now, and that's also available on Amazon. Dave, I know you have this book. Dave?
The one you're talking about.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to show me a book. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. No. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I thought you were going to show a book. I'm sorry. Yes, I do. It's interesting, because it's one of the great, talking about the what ifs is back in the 60s, if the NFL and the AFL played, it'd have been tremendous. So it's just it's a great look at what could have been, because it's funny, because when you bring that up, I just finished a little while ago, a few months ago, book on the 1964 Buffalo Bills. And
oh yeah, I got to read that book too. That's on my shelf. One
of the best AFL teams of all time. But it was a good look at where I grew up in a time before I was born. So it was an interesting look at the city and everything as well.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, listen, on that note, let's wrap everything up. And for those who are listening and watching our live stream, you can find us at Gridiron.app. We're on the Sports History Network. We're also on YouTube for the live streams at Gridiron America TV. On Twitter, we do the live streams, Gridiron AM Radio. And also on Twitch, we're at Gridiron America. So hopefully we're rebuilding the brand, and we're doing these weekly shows. Hopefully the listenership will increase as we move along. And but we'll be back next week to talk more CFL football. Any final notes, guys, before I hit the end stream and we wrap things up?
Just piggyback on that, guys. Like, follow, and subscribe, and support our channel. And we all do this for the love of the game. And anything we can do to help venture out and make it more well known, that's what we want to do. So just continue to support the following, and
Great. So, all right. Hey, listen, on that note, I am going to say goodbye for all three of us, and we'll be seeing you next week. Bye-bye.
Hey there, sports history fan. This is Arnie Chapman, aka the Football History Dude, and I hope that you enjoyed this recent episode presented by the Sports History Network and were able to learn some good old-fashioned sports history knowledge nuggets. I started the Sports History Network back in 2020 with the mission to help podcasters find a community of like-minded sports history nerds, as well as helping aspiring podcasters to start their own shows. We have a little bit over 30 shows on the network right now covering all sorts of sports history. But as far as I'm concerned, we're just at the toothpick in the ocean moment, that can't even figure it out because there's so much more coming. We wanted to create the ultimate headquarters for sports yesteryear, starting with Podcast Network and our website, but we're going to continue to move into other mediums as well. And here's the cool part, because we want you to be part of our team. So if you're interested in starting your own podcast, or maybe being a guest on one of our shows, or who knows, maybe even writing an article for us over on the website. Seriously, all you gotta do is reach out to us on the contact page over at sportshistorynetwork.com. You can be as technologically savvy as a Neanderthal tapping on a stone trying to figure out this whole hieroglyphics thing back in the day. Again, it doesn't matter, because even if you don't understand the whole podcast space, we have a production team that can pretty much help you out with doing everything. All you gotta do, head over to sportshistorynetwork.com, head to the contact page, fill it out. That message goes right to me, and I'll reach out to you as soon as I can. But for now, dude, I'm through if you're through.